Welcome back to the CUPRA Simracing Series on RaceRoom Racing Experience. After a tense, action-filled sprint round at the Nürburgring, it's now time to head deep into the Ardennes to one of motorsport's most famous and picturesque locations. It's, of course, Spa-Francorchamps. This time, it's a 60-minute race with a mandatory pit stop, and taking you through the action is Lewis McGlade. Alongside me is Robert Wiesenmüller, and there you can see the schedule for today's event, and obviously something very different than what we saw 2 weeks ago, Rob, and it should be a tense race nonetheless.
Hello everyone, hello Lewis. Yes indeed. Switch of format here in the CUPRA Simracing Series. 60-minute race, mandatory pit stop, lots of different strategy options as well for the drivers here in the CUPRA Simracing Series. Do they change all 4 tires or only 2? Do they refuel? When do they take the pit stop? All very important questions that will be answered in the 60-minute race. And as you said before, it's round 2 of the championship. Let's have a short look at the calendar here. We were already at the Nürburgring for the opening race. And if you missed the opening race, well, no problem, because Lewis will just take you right through the action of the first race of the season.
Highlights from the first round of the CUPRA Simracing Series from the Nürburgring. The first round of the season would have David Nagy on pole position, but the tricky turn 1 caught him out, and on the brakes he went straight on. Through this and a decent start for Florian Haase, he inherited the lead, but not for long as Ben Spanky through an aggressive lunge took the lead from him. David Nagy would be dropped to 9th position. Through this, the top 5 would break away from the pack as Banky leads Haase, Dorneden, Baldi and Honzik. In the fight for the reverse grid pole of P10, it was a race-long battle between Stulic and Willem van Oomen, but it was heating up as Chris Shepherd was joining the fun. As Willem van Oomen was attacking Stulic, there was contact and the pair went wide, allowing Shepherd into the fight proper. Hard racing between Shepherd and Stulic allowed Willem van Oomen to prime a well-thought-out overtake. By backing off in contact, he was able to pass the pair and take 10th position. At the end of the race though, the first man to draw blood in this season would be this man, Ben Spanky, victorious in the first race of the season. After a hard-fought 10th place in race 1, Willem van Oomen would start from reverse grid pole. He'd make a decent launch, but unfortunately make a mistake at turn 1, allowing Torsten Ullrich into the lead. Norbert Leitner was in hot pursuit and set up a fantastic move to get by and up into 2nd position, but by the time he'd done it, Ullrich had already stretched the lead to 2 seconds. Next would be Nagy trying to recover an evening's work. Also, with some tough racing against his compatriot, Nagy took 2nd and sets his sight on victory. Willem van Oomen continued to drop backwards as he was passed by race 1 winner Banky for 5th place. Later, Banky would get by Leitner and take 3rd. An excellent race from Ullrich so far, but a dream victory seemed to be slipping away as David Nagy was all over his rear end. It wouldn't take him long to get by with a bit of contact to the hairpin, and Nagy took the lead. And with that, David Nagy didn't look back. Eyes forward, race victory ahead. After a bad start to the evening, he took his first win of the season. We'll take a quick look then at the drivers' standings after the first round, and Ben Spanky has the championship lead courtesy of the first race victory and a podium. David Nagy, after pole position, is now 2nd in the standings, and Alexander Dorneden is in 3rd. Florian Haase had a disappointing race 2, but still holds 4th position, and Gergo Baldi rounds out the top 5. We'll be back for racing action at Spa-Francorchamps for the 60-minute race, and until then, we'll see you next time. That was Nürburgring, and this is Spa. Different circuit, different schedule, something completely different for us. Of course, a pit stop in this one, and Rob, we're going to see a lot of different strategical elements here, and we were just having a conversation there about the importance of this race. Of course, it's 200 points of a victory. We saw Ben Spanky there with 194 points to his name. There is points for qualifying, so technically you can maximise this evening on 215 points. It's obviously, that shows the importance of these endurance rounds.
Yeah, I mean, technically you can also get 215 points in the sprint rounds, but it's significantly more difficult to win both races in the sprint round because of the top 10 reverse grid. Well, here all you have to do is to cross the line on the first place. Not that that is an easy task, but still. So probably the driver who wins here goes home with a little bit more points than Monkey did in the last round. And we've got plenty of new drivers here. who arrived and who also make use of the drop score rule. So we've got a rule in this championship that not all of the rounds count, but only 4 of the 5 event scores count, the 4 best event scores. Penalty points cannot be dropped, so if you get a penalty somewhere, these points get subtracted from your score anyway, even if you drop the round. But still, you can miss one round and pretty much get away with it. And Jack Keithley and his Williams Esports teammates, they are using this rule and they are entering the championship late, entering here at the 2nd round of the season.
Yeah, of course, by memory, Jack Keithley wasn't even in the country, well, his home country anyway, to race from when we did the last round, because he was doing a RaceRoom event in Germany. Enters this round though and is the top qualifier, as would be expected from a man of his pace. Moritz Lerner as well, right up there. So Williams Esports coming into this with a vengeance. We had Moritz Lerner do a lap earlier in the week that he uploaded and we shared on the RaceRoom Facebook page, of course, going of course. It's always good to see that community effort, all these big names returning, these ones that people will recognise from other championships like the WTCR Esports Championship and other ones across RaceRoom.
Yeah, and also when you look through the list here, also on the right side, I think P18, P19, that's not so impressive, right? But look at the names. Michael Rechel and Tim Jarschel, 2 of the fastest young drivers on RaceRoom. For Euronics Gaming, also on the grid here. So yeah, plenty of strong drivers. 22 drivers on the server right now. We expect all 24 to be here. And yeah, will be an awesome race coming up.
Yeah, we were also having a chat. You saw it in the highlights package. Shepard and Stulic getting really into things, and with Willem van Oomen as well. In that first race, Willem van Oomen and Stulic getting into it a little bit in race 2 as well. Not really showing too much on the highlights package, but it definitely happened. We look at Slaven Stulic now. Now, Stulic and Shepard are the only 2 drivers, as far as from memory, that we were discussing, that came out of that round with penalties or penalty points. They're obviously back here. They're 10th and 11th, I think, on the timing.
Yeah.
On the pre-qualifier. I mean, are they going to be close here, Rob? Are we going to see some more dicey action between them?
Oh, I think we will certainly see a lot of action between them. Stulic and Shepard both driving pretty much on the limit. And yeah, penalties for both of them. We have a nice look over the forest in the Ardennes here. Christian Juhasz somewhere in there. There he is on the track. Yeah, both very close from pace, but also very aggressive on track. Got a couple of penalties in the lower servers. No penalty for David Notch for his move on Thorsten Ulrich for the victory, because he wasn't reported for it. David Notch's first victory stands. And let's see how the racing will be here in the 2nd round with the endurance race. We expect maybe a little bit less, door bashing, door banging, maybe a bit more tactical driving in this race. One of the hardest tracks. You could see how Juhasz is struggling here in these fast corners with the lift-off oversteer going way too wide there in Buon. Yeah, certainly one of the most difficult circuits on the calendar, and we've got even Macau coming up. Still, in these front-wheel drive cars, Spa is certainly not easy.
Yeah, never a track to be underestimated for sure. Really, we must give a big shout out to Thorsten Ulrich, who had an incredible round. Was one that we weren't really expecting to actually talk about very much in the first round, and yet a decent start in race 1, ended up in the top 10 in the first race, and then the second race led most of it, was only thwarted by a very angry David Nodge coming through, who was aggrieved of that turn 1 mistake and needed to make an impact on the championship. Obviously he's second in the championship now. That was the only thing that stopped him from a very well-deserved victory, because he was pulling away from everyone else. Hopefully he is in Division 1 for today's action. Hopefully we can see a bit more of the young rising star.
Yeah, P22 in a practice session only though. So
yeah, but Jack Keithley was P14.
Yeah, but it just shows the depth in the field.
I think we'll see drivers moving about. Of course, this is going to take them a long time to get around to do a flying lap. It's a 2.5 minute lap here, Rob. And yeah, we bring it up every time just for those that tune in that don't really know how qualifying works in RaceRoom. That 50-minute counter is a counter to the end of the session, not a sense of when the checker flag comes out, in a sense of that's it, the session's done. Regardless of where you are on your lap, that is the session done. We move straight into the race. So with it being a 2.5 minute lap, you have to be so careful with how you're doing your stints, because if you get it wrong, and I know because I have done this before, not in racing but elsewhere in sim racing, where in a qualifying session of 15-16 minutes at Spa, I haven't put a lap on the board. Because you mistime it, you miscalculate it, you think, if I come back in now, I can just do another one. I can get that lap's not very good. I just want to get another one on the board, a better one. So I'm going to come out later in the session and it's like, no. You've just got to do your laps, and you've got to make them work.
Yeah, especially because of the track limits as well. Here in Spa, you've got a lot of tarmac runoff areas, and when you go too far on the outside, you can go with 2 wheels on the curb and 2 wheels over, but not further than that. And if you go too far, of course, your lap will be completely invalidated in qualifying. So then you have to start again, and if you don't have enough fuel in your tank, you have to go back to the pits, refuel, get back out, drive the outlap, maybe you face traffic. So yeah, it's quite hard here. 15 minutes sounds like a lot, but it really isn't.
It's realistically, it's maybe 3 time laps. Two or 3 time laps. You just don't have very much time. In fact, that depends on if you're doing multiple laps back to back. If you're doing only an out lap and then 1 time lap, I reckon you won't actually finish that 3rd one. When it comes to you're traversing pit lane, how quick you have to be to escape the fact that it's bang on 2.5 minutes. So obviously a stint, even if you do it to absolute perfection, it's going to take you 5 minutes. And when that clock hits 15, that's it, the session's done. For some of these, it might even only be 2, Rob. We look at Moritz Lerner coming through the bus stop chicane, though, to start his first lap. 12 minutes 30 to go, so at this point he's on target to do that. And into La Source.
Difficult track to drive. This corner not so much really, but yeah, in Eau Rouge, can do it flat. But it's not easy to do it flat, especially on the worn tires, of course, in the race.
Precision and perfection, the name of the game. Oh, absolutely on the limit over the top at Raidillon.
Yeah, also stayed in gear, didn't shift down, because the revs really dropped down, and when you're through Eau Rouge into Raidillon.
Yeah, that compression.
Staying in the 6th gear here all the time.
This is where we're going to see a lot of racing. Lecom. Look in the curbs. Oof. Rear end nearly stepping out there, Rob.
Yeah, a little bit, but he's staying on the left side to get this one flat. That was very nice. Hard braking here. This one's quite difficult to get early on the throttle. It's kind of very narrow in the corner. Not the corner without a name. One of the most important track limit corners here on the exit. Navigates it nicely. Now onto the corner that one of my old teammates always called the mother of all corners. Who on such a hard corner.
Who was that? Was that Waring?
No, it was a guy called Reto Cristiani.
Oh, I see. It's a very Waring line, though.
Hard braking here.
These corners have so many different names. Fania, Piff Path, whatever it's called in the modern one. Campus, I think.
Very good lap from Lerner so far. Bit of a lock up here on the entry. This one should be flat. Just about clips the curb. This is perfectly. Go down to Blanchimont. Also flat in these cars. Oh, it sounded like he lifted a little bit there. That was very strange.
Could have been a little bit of compression, I guess. I don't know how large the lift was. Heads into the bus stop chicane. So easy to lose all of that time. Squirreling away a little bit on the brakes. Maybe a little bit too early on the brakes, the way he just absolutely clobbered that curb. Through the bus stop and over to finish his first lap. Of course, other drivers in hot pursuit. We'll see what they do on their first times across the line. 2:27.5.
Wow, that's
Good
really quick.
Lap time. 2:27.7 for Dornadin. 2:28.0. 2:27.6 for Keithley. Up to 2nd position straight away. Yaroslav Honzik. 27.6 as well. Oh, 27.4. Cleaver Brzezinski. Straight up there. Fantastic. He was looking like he might have been struggling a little bit in the practice prior to this. 2:27.4 though, straight on the board. The pole, the Williams Esports driver himself, up onto pole position. So currently it's Williams Esports 1-2-3, Rob.
Yes, 27.2 was the fastest time in pre-qualifying, and we didn't expect the drivers to come so close, because usually the times in in the actual qualifying session are slower because of the tires. Especially the rear tires, because they're very cold. Can't really heat them up in these cars. It was front-wheel drive. Garibaldi, we can see, didn't even set a lap time. It's Bunky coming out of the pits. Well, let's hope he's on the track. There he is.
Apologies for the cameras. They sometimes like to show us the scenery. It's a beautiful place, though. It's definitely a nice place to pick up some scenery. We're right on board with our championship leader, our WTCR Esports champion as well, who won the first race of the season from second on the grid, dropped back behind Florian Haase, but then instantly got by and then didn't really look back past that point, showed tremendous form, and realistically shows himself as one of the best. Willem van Oomen, who got that reverse grid pole back in the Nürburgring, setting a very good first sector time in the slipstream. Runs very wide though at the corner. No, I wonder if that might have been a cut. I don't think it was. I think it was close.
I think it was still good. Got a bit of slipstream in the first sector. Oh, sideways here. It's gonna cost him some time.
Picks it up nicely though, through P1. Despite that mistake, despite the rear end trying to get away from him, he fought it and he fought it well. And he's got an excellent benchmark ahead with Ben Spanky, the next car. If you wanted someone who's going to be quick, it's going to be him. I think it might be Dorneden as well, the car ahead of him.
Oh, I'm not sure who that is. I think it's Honsik, number 13. Honsik, the teammate of Van Oomen. Bunky somehow in between. Bunky without teammates in this championship. SDL doesn't have so many drivers anymore. Decent second sector for Van Oomen, but not going to challenge the Williams Esports drivers at the front of the field.
I'm assuming Ben Spanky is not either, because he's dropped back. So that's that done for Banky.
I think Banky was on the outlap.
Whoa, that's a biggie. That's going to be, contact with the wall. How much time has he got left? He's got enough time to get back and do another one.
Just shows the corner where you think, well, it's flat, you know, you can take it flat, it's still going to be difficult. Let's check with
through some of the bumps. Yeah, through some of the bumps, it can really lift that rear end off and just really throw you around. The Euronics Gaming driver, very cool. Through that corner, we just saw the incident for Willem van Oomen. Bit of a twitch, but not too much.
He's also not on the lap, so either track limits or an outlap. And it's kind of a quiet qualifying session, really. Honsik to 4th, Haase in 5th, Dorneden 6th, and Bunky championship leader only in 7th. Most importantly, Garibaldi only P20. So I think we really need to check on Garibaldi to see what he's doing on this lap.
Green in the first sector. Also, one thing to note, David Noj, who had that... Remember how late that pole lap came in at the Nürburgring? He is currently in P8, so just behind championship leader. So 1 and 2 in the championship, currently 7 and 8 on the circuit. Torsten Ulrich inside the top 10, as well as Bo Dixon, who was one driver we said we don't really know very much about him. Currently showing some good form in 9th place at the moment.
Yes, his debut in Server 1 here. He's also in Server 1 at the Nordschleife in the WTCR Championship, so he's got a little bit of experience, but certainly not as much as almost all of the drivers that are also on the server. Missing 2 drivers, one of them is Tim Yarshall, who hasn't arrived yet. Hopefully he will still arrive. Only 5 minutes left for him to join the server.
Yeah, he's a driver who's shown some incredible form over his short RaceRoom racing experience esports career. Garibaldi comes up to the end of the second sector split as he heads through Curve Paul Frere. Still decent. Not pole worthy though. We watch him towards Blanchimont. So quick. Some of the highest speeds we'll see all season right here. Heavy on the brakes. Yeah, it does look good, doesn't it? Of course, a reminder,
it doesn't look stable here.
Everyone's driving the same car with exception of certain setup changes they can make. Massive lock up on the rear end there. Comes across the line currently in 19th position. He's going to set a time that should move him up the order. Where is he going to go? P7 at the moment, so he jumps ahead of championship leader at 27.957. We look back towards P5. Florian Haase sets a purple first sector by quite a margin as well. I believe picking up some stuff from his teammate.
Yeah, it's Rachel ahead of him.
Yeah.
These cars are very similar looking. Haase with the car with the number 1. Slightly more blue and Rachel's car slightly more green, but it's a perfect slipstream there for Florian Haase.
Maybe a little bit too close.
Ooh, that's not good.
That's not the perfect slipstream. There's contact between the teammates and they're round and off. And that'll be it, by the way, unless they can get back. Oh, that's a good catch. realistically, this will be the last lap for them once they start this one. So that's it. That has not worked to plan. In fact, I'd go as far as saying that's worked terribly.
Yes, indeed it has. And Alexander Dorneden, meanwhile, jumps up to P2.
He jumped up. Dorneden up to second position at 27.558. A tenth off of pole, though.
And Alexander Dorneden, he's the king of Spa here at RaceRoom, the only driver to win twice RaceRoom competitions at this track. No one else has managed to do so, and Dorneden has, and once again, the FA Esports driver is on form.
Yeah, I mean, a driver with a lot of pedigree here, and just remind me what FA stands for in FA racing?
Fernando Alonso.
Exactly. You don't get signed for that team unless you are hot stuff. Torsten Ulrich outside the top 10 at the moment, but he didn't start inside the top 10 last time.
He was outside of the track limits as well in this corner. So that's his lap done. I'm not sure if there are really a lot of drivers who are on a fast lap at the moment. Onsick on a decent one. Well, actually not. That's a 9. So he can pretty much forget about this lap. So won't be better than P5 in the end. Dorneden on a green sector. It's actually going
green sector from second, yeah.
Oh, and he abandons his lap.
Abandons it.
Immediately as we jump to him. Let's go to Bunky then.
Green in the first sector needs to do some damage. It's looking pretty good though through that first sector, only a few hundreds down really. There are 3 drivers who are yet to set a time, by the way. Leitner, Badin and Juhasz, the 3 drivers yet to stick a time on the board. So unfortunately for them, their sessions will end at the back of the grid unless they can somehow sneak a cheeky one in at the end of the session. You can see in the tower, there are some drivers who are very much out of position. Philip van Oomen has set a time 8 seconds, 8 and a bit, nearly 9 seconds off of the pace. Puts him in P20. Of course, there's no 105% rule, and we know he's quick enough anyway. So even then, Bent Banky trying to move his way up the order in 8th position at the moment, but setting decent times. Could move him up towards that front row, Rob.
Also look at Stulic and Shepard. Stulic just improved before they were right next to each other once again, but now Stulic up to P13. Let's see, bus stop for Bunky. Doesn't go quite as hard over the curb as Lerner did.
Who jumped him? I think David Nodge jumped him, 228.001. Banky to the line. P7 just jumps David Nodge. Still not a good session, realistically. Just ahead of Gergo Bowdy. A good few tenths off a pole, and that'll be it. That'll be as high as he can qualify in this event. We look at Cleaver Brzezinski for Williams Esports, and considering just basically jumping into this, that is fantastic work. Should be a fairly secure pole position at the moment. Of course, we said that about Ben Spanky's in the Nürburgring, and then it was taken away from him in the dying seconds of the session. We look at Norbert Leitner, who's setting a decent-ish time, currently 22nd without a time on the board, a minute to go.
Yeah, one of the few drivers who's still on an improvement here. Dorneden, Lerner and Keithley all still out, but no one's showing up as green or purple at the moment on our timing. So we just have to stick here with Norbert Leitner, see if he can do something about Brzezinski. But I think what he's worried about the most is that he, doesn't get a lap in at all. He will just stay within the track limits here, try his best not to cut the track anywhere, and jump up a little bit at least.
Yeah, maybe to 21st place or 20th if he can do it. Let's see what he does towards line. 15th, much better.
When Keithley is on a good lap.
Comes through the final chicane. Could it be Jack Keithley upsetting his Williams Esports teammate, or could it be Williams Esports on the front row? They're currently displaced by FA Racing. Improves, but not a position.
I think he pressed escape before the line there, because he knew it wouldn't work out. Either way, we've got Brzezinski on pole. Dorneden couldn't improve either. So here we've got the full overview of the qualifying time. So CUPRA Brzezinski, first race in the CUPRA Simracing Series, first pole, ahead of Dorneden, Lerner and Keithley, then Honsick Hasse, Bunky Baldi, David Notch, Bo Dixon. Torsten Ulrich, only P11 after a great race last time, but he wasn't that fast in qualifying last time either. Just made it up in the race.
Yeah, we'll see if he can move his way up the order through. I said the first race, there's only one. It's 60 minutes long. We only get one race here. And there's a look at your championship standings before we head into that race. Ben Spanky, 194 points to his name, but 7th is the position that he's going to start here. Dorneden in 3rd is going to start from 2nd. So very, very important, of course, with drop scars involved as well. Rob, before we get to the start of the race, who do you think is going to come out on top here?
Hard to tell. We don't even know who's on a full tank and who isn't. But I will put my money this time on Alexander Dorniden. He's proven that he can race very strong, even if the whole team is against him. Once again, in a pack of different cars. This time from Williams Esports. So my money's on Dorniden.
Yeah, he's going to have to fend off a lot of those Williams Esports drivers. Of course, Cleaver Brzezinski, currently the man on pole position. Alexander Dorniden, Mr. Spa, alongside him. The lights will come on and we will get racing for the third race of the season. This time, it's time to go endurance racing. 60 minutes ahead of us and we are underway. And currently, Cleaver Brzezinski is just leading us into turn one. We look back at third position as they're coming under attack. Moritz Lerner under attack from Jack Keithley. Alexander Dorniden trying to go around the outside, but it's going to get muscled off the road as Cleaver Brzezinski is going to hold to the lead. Jack Keithley's up to third position. Moritz Lerner down to fourth now as the Williams Esports drivers are just fighting hard in the background as we run towards Eau Rouge for the first time. Look at this side by side for fifth position. Drops back in line. Smart move. There's three wide in the background though. Oh, I wouldn't dare think what's going to happen here. Norbert Leitner getting muscled down to 15th. He qualified there, but I think made some decent progress on the start. We'll look back towards the front of the field though as Cleaver Brzezinski. Oh, I think there might be a big off. There's a huge off. A Rakel round. Euronics Gaming. Anyone going to collect him? No. Wow,
fantastic
that is
save. Oh, and Florian Hasse right on the attack there. It's Keithley in the grey, blue and orange car there, also going side by side with his teammate Lerner. Hasse still behind Honzig. Not a lot of position changes at the front.
No, I mean Moritz Lerner and Jack Keithley switched at T1. Oh, look at this! Florian Hasse, oh, about to be hit. He did get tapped and he's going to be round.
Oh, I think we've got an issue once again here. With the game sickle just trying to get that back. Unfortunately, that keeps happening.
It happened in the previous round. We'll get you some coverage back as soon as we can. But yes, as I was saying, the two teammates of Jack Keithley and Lerner were switching at T1. They must have switched back at the top end as we went over Radion, switched back over before Lecom, and then returned to their third and fourth positions. So Jack Keithley in fourth, Lerner in third. It's been a good start though for Cleaver Brzezinski, who's done some decent work to hang on. He obviously had to muscle it a little bit with Alexander Dorniden at T1 to hold on to the lead, but it just managed to work. That three wide heading down into Eau Rouge. Absolutely crazy stuff. We'll get you some pictures back as soon as we can, but I'm sure there'll be some spicy racing. We're not going to miss the strategic element. I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be playing it a bit smarter, in air quotes, at this point. I can confirm to you that Florian Hasse didn't spin. That was more of a lag issue. I think he did get hit a little bit by Banky. He was the championship leader directly behind him. We ride on board with Brzezinski. Hopefully the tower's still working in full form. Dorniden right on his rear end though. Oh, I think he might be going for a lunge though. I think it did. I saw second place appear. And Alexander Dorniden is going to be on the outside here. If we have a look, I think Alexander Dorniden's all the way alongside. He's going to be on the inside for La Source. Also coming, Moritz Lerner, Jack Keithley. So teammates, Williams Esports are now all overtaken. Alexander Dorniden into the lead. Mr. Spa, that's why he's called it. Alexander Dorniden into the lead. Now he's got slipstreamed for three Williams Esports car. Brzezinski, Lerner, Keithley directly behind. Jaroslav Honzik's done a good job to hold on the fifth position. Florian Hasse in sixth. Bence Banky seventh. Torsten Ulrich, another fantastic start up to 8th position. Gergo Bowdy and David Noj rounding out the top 10. So pretty interesting stuff back there. And we run aboard with Dorniden. Look at that, getting closer and closer.
Didn't miss any position changes at the front apart from Dorniden, but there could be one now. 3 wide into the com. Now Dorniden slots in ahead of the Williams guys, and that's Lerner on the outside. Against Brzezinski, very nice move.
Moritz Lerner up to second position. That was a lovely move around the outside of Lecom. Fantastic on the brakes was Cleaver Brzezinski though to hold that one. Jack Keithley having to go a bit defensive in the background as Cleaver Brzezinski having to go defensive as Jack Keithley's trying to muscle his way by his teammates. So Cleaver Brzezinski goes from the first of the Williams boys now to the third. Jaroslav Honzik trying to get involved in this, who was fifth in the last race, basically just was holding on to the top lot, but he's not holding on this time. Look at this, Cleaver Brzezinski being muscled all the way down the order, pole position to fifth potentially. Oh, side by side at Pouon. That is brave, brave, brave. That is a fantastic move from Yardia.
Look at Torsten Ulrich. Up to P7 once again.
Now. Ahead of the championship leader. Such an impressive opening lap in the first race last time out. An impressive opening lap continuing here. 7th position from 11th. Could he be in contention for victory this afternoon? Could he have underfueled the car? As we were saying, there's a lot of strategy that can play out when it comes to the fueling of these vehicles and on what they want to do when it comes to strategy. By the way, the strategical window opens 15 minutes into the race, closes 15 minutes from the end. It's that middle half of the race where the strategic window is open. Whoa, there's a bit of a moment there for Alexander Donerden. Quite similar to Willem van Omens in qualifying. Maurice Lerner trying to go around the outside. There's a bit of contact between the two. He's going to be on the inside for the second part of the bus. There's going to be more contact, surely. Oh, Alexander Donerden just hanging on. This is getting dicey up the top. This may be an endurance race, Rob, but they are not pulling any punches.
Now Keithley's joining the battle as well.
Jack Keithley would really realistically be my pick for the victory. He is such a good driver. Maybe not the calmest of heads on his shoulders, but when he needs to deliver the laps, he delivers the laps. Didn't have the best WTCR round at Suzuka either. I kind of think fell apart through an incident. Whereas this time he can make something work here. But someone making something work. Wow, look at that! How nose to tail they were. Maurice Lerner right on the rear end. Sucking in all of those fumes. Going to go to the outside of Lake Combe. He can't make the second move. No, he can't do that. Same as what he did on Brzezinski. Just not going to work. Donerden's in way too hot, though. Donerden's in way too hot. Who's also in hot? That was, I think, Ulrich as well. Was in massively too hot. That's cost Alexander Donerden the lead. I think Torsten Ulrich's gone down to 10th position from 7th after his mistake in very, very similar conditions. Look at this. Jaroslav Honzik trying to get onto the podium as well. Right on the back. The sextet of them. They're really fighting hard. That one mistake has really bunched them up. Alexander Donerden slightly over the Lake Combe chicane.
Next mistake from Ulrich here, probably slowdown penalty after going too wide there in the corner. And Donerden, uncharacteristic mistake there, allows Lerner through, and Lerner really looks like he has the pace here.
Honzik wide at Pouon. Maybe under attack into the Fania chicane from Cleaver Brzezinski, desperate to make some light. Oh, Jack Keithley. Oh, Jack Keithley, he can be aggressive. And Donerden can also be aggressive. So, potential fireworks here. That would be great for Lerner as he would try and pull away, but they're all going to slipstream their way up towards the bus stop chicane as we head through Curve Paul Frere. We look towards the back end of this. Florian Haase, he'll be, I think, biding his time. He's one who, in a strategical race like this, we've seen at so many times. He's so good in strategical races. He's so good at keeping a calm head, looking after his tyres, looking after his position in the race, and potentially thinking about when he can pit rather than how many people can I overtake before I pit. Let me think about what I can actually do and what can I bring to this race. Oh, looking for an Haase. Speed. I was totally wrong there. Trying to get past up into 5th position, trying to get past Cleaver Brzezinski. Two almost identical cars. He's gone for the cut back of the bus stop chicane. Now he's going to be on the outside for La Source. That's not going to work, surely. You ride on board with Jaroslav Honzik looking back. Rob, surely that one's not going to work.
No, I don't think this can work, and they're kind of losing a little bit, you know, the back of Honzik here. Honzik himself didn't have a good exit from the first corner of the track, and Haase is still right on the tail of Brzezinski, and Donerden also has caught back up with Maurice Lerner. Let's just follow Haase here through the bus stop, through the Eau Rouge and Radillon.
I wasn't sure how much racing we'd get here in this kind of style of racing, but these guys, oof, it may be an endurance race, but it's touring car still. Donerden, now he's trying to push Maurice Lerner. That's smart. Trying to gap everyone else, using the slipstream to actually a better effect to try and gap other people and make a decent gap. Florian Haase once again looks down the inside of Cleaver Brzezinski. Nothing quite working there for 6th position. We look further down the order. Stulic, who's he battling with? It's Sheppy. Oh, a little bit of contact there. There's going to be fireworks here, believe me. I was speaking to Chris Shepherd after the race. He is not a fan of Slaven Stulic, and I'm pretty sure that goes both ways.
Yeah, I think Stulic sent 4 protests against Chris Shepherd after the race, so he wasn't happy about his driving either. And now they found each other once again.
We weren't talking about like this before the race of when are these two going to meet, not whether they will, when. Adam Pinches into the pit lane for a very early stop. That's also outside of the pit window, so that won't count towards that mandatory pit stop count. Look back at that battle. I see Stulic has pulled away a little bit at the front. We look at Norbert Leitner putting the pressure on Chris Shepherd. A lot of pressure.
Just got the
Dixon
message.
as well, by the way, is pulled away.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we just got the message in the chat that Tim Yarshall can't attend because he's on the train, and the train has technical issues, so yeah, didn't arrive in time for the race. Bad luck, of course, because he doesn't have a drop score. He wasn't in the first round. That's probably his chances of winning the championship and winning the 3,000 euros. Probably a chance already over.
Yeah, of course, they're all battling. There's a 6,000 euro prize pool. It's 3,000 for the person who wins the championship, 2,000 for second, and 1,000 for third. An absolutely diddly squat for anyone else. Which means those podium positions towards the end of the season are going to be well fought over. Look at this, though. We have got a train all the way down to 11th position from Lerner, Dorneden, Keithley, Honzik. Just look and see if there's any moves going on. Nope, Brzezinski, Haase, Banki, Bowdy, Noj, Ulrich, and Bo Dixon rounding out that top 11 who are in that real train. As there's been something going on there, for sure. I think I might have someone dropping down.
I think David Notch is having some connection issues here.
Yeah.
Michael Rechtel, meanwhile, back up to P15. We have to jump to O. Just let's see the Orouge here. That was very close, but Rechtel backed out of it. But we have to go back to the leaders. Because Dorneden is going for the move, and he's got the inside against Lerner.
Yes, indeed. This should be an easy pass unless Lerner's going to try and hang around the outside. He doesn't. And that's Dorneden back up into the lead. I will say, Rachel's done a really good job to recover after that huge spin at the top of Redion. Or past Redion, really. Oh, but look at this. Lerner's getting straight back into it. Under attack is Dorneden. Lerner going to get straight back through. Oh, there's contact with Ravage. I think he might be through. Oh, we lose him behind the trees. But yeah, Alexander Dorneden back to second.
Keithley now on the back of Dorneden. Keithley had to defend pretty hard in Lecom against Jaroslav Honzik. Squeezed him there a little bit. Now his eyes are set on the white car of Alexander Dorneden. Certainly the easiest car to spot on this grid.
Yeah, it does make it easy when you've just got a car that basically is just a bright single colour. Because we do lose them sometimes. They obviously all have their own unique variant of liveries to help separate them apart. Alexander Dorneden in that white car, trying to throw everything back in this lead. They've toed and froed multiple times the two Germans at the top end of the field. Jack Keithley not able to really mix it up with them yet, but I'm sure he will at some point. They're going to be very close heading into the bus stop. Once again, the pit window will open the next time by, I believe, 47 minutes.
Someone's gone wide. I think that was Hasse.
Who's losing time? I think he might have been wide, but not actually lost too much. Still in 6th position is Florian Haase. Look at this, Jack Keithley down the inside of Dorneden, not quite going for it. Dorneden almost being forced into an attempt to pass at Moritz Lerner, but they're going to stay single file. Eau Rouge one more time. As I say, the next time they come by, the pit window will be open, I believe. But it's no one surely is going to take it this early. So fast over the top, but look at this, Dorneden going to the outside. He'll slipstream all the way past, all the way down the Kemmel Straight. Obviously, massive uphill. It's a lot steeper than people think. Look at Jack Keithley. Jack Keithley coming involved. He's going to be on the inside. They're going to be 3 wide at Lecom. That's crazy stuff. Alexander Dorneden going to try and go on the outside. He is going to hold it. Jack Keithley, they're going to try and hang it. He's going to be on the inside for the final part, but that's not going to carry the momentum out of Lecom. Oh, there's contact between the two. He might drop back behind Jaroslav Honzik if he's not careful. So good onto the brakes into that corner is Moritz Lerner. Jaroslav Honzik not able to get by Jack Keithley as well. So through all of that action, they remain in the exact same position. That's crazy. Got to be careful at running wide at the corner with no name. You'll get a slowdown.
And this train is just getting longer. Anki, Baldi and Notch are also arriving at the end of the train. Of course, Dorneden doesn't have a slipstream. Also has to drive the defensive line in some of the corners.
This is what happens when you're so closely matched up and down the order. Realistically, if you put them on circuit all at the same time, they'd be all lapping, you know, maybe within, well, I'd say everyone on the grid is obviously lapping within about a second of each other. And when you have that, once you start battling, everything closes up and anyone can be the victor. And in an hour-long race like this, one mistake, it can cost you. Against drivers like this, you can't make mistakes. You just can't afford it. Dorneden leading the field, saying Mr. Spa, the only person to win here twice in RaceRoom competition. And showing his form. Look at this from Jack Keithley. You can see him poking out. He's going to go around the outside of the bus stop. The two teammates going to go side by side. Jack Keithley going to try and get around the outside of Alexander Dorneden. That's surely not going to work. But he is going to get... Oh, it might work, though. There's a bit of contact between the two. And somehow Jack Keithley's made that work. But Moritz Lerner is now going to be on the outside for La Source. There was a great bit of driving from Moritz Lerner. But maybe even better from Jack Keithley. From absolutely out of nowhere, heavy brakes up into the lead. That was crazy.
Certainly very aggressive stuff. Now Dorneden side by side with Jaroslav Honzik. Just two positions at once here. Keithley to the lead of the race. Pit window is open now.
The fourth. Yeah, that pit window wide open for these drivers at any point. Jack Keithley now under attack from his teammate. Are they going to work together a little bit? I think they might. They might indeed. Wow, that's Jack Keithley going very defensive very early. He knows his teammate will overtake him if he's given the opportunity. Jaroslav Honzik helping Dorneden into the mix. Oh, a little bit of contact there between Dorneden and Lerner. And you can see all the cars part of this train. And believe you me, all of these cars are up for victory this afternoon. Any one of them can win given the right opportunity. And with the strategical play at work, we don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, they can take 2 tyres, they could take 4 tyres, they could be running on lower fuel at the moment, they could be taking fuel in the pit stop, they could be on a full tank to get them to the end. All we know is they have to come into that pit lane one time. Willem van Oomen, the first one to jump down pit lane. And you can see, as marked by the green box next to, on the tower, next to the driver, that signifies that they have been into the pit lane within the window. Of course, Adam Pinches has been into the pit lane, not within that window.
Yeah, I think Pinches has retired now. Shame for him.
Shame for him, yeah,
22 cars on the track. Still a lot of close racing, and for the first time, really, a different situation at the front. 2 Williams cars who can work together now. Keithley and Lerner trying to get Dorneden. It looks like Dorneden is losing a little bit of time.
They don't really look like they want to be working together, though. Of course, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors at Williams Esports. They currently have a driver in first, in second, and in fifth. Cleaver Brzezinski, of course, pole position, now dropped down to 5th position, but definitely not out of contention. Keithley wide at Blanchimont. Dorneden trying to get back into the mix. He might go for a dive on Moritz Lerner. Moritz Lerner might try and go around the outside, but nope, thinks better of it. I mean, considering how good Jack Keithley was on the brakes in the previous lap, I'm not actually that surprised.
That's the aggression level that we know from Keithley early on in the races, and Dorneden kinda calm in this race. That's uncharacteristic. These two are drivers that haven't really raced against each other very often in the past, but who both have a very high aggression level in these races. Right now Lerner in between them, kinda sandwiched between Dorneden and Keithley, and I think that's calming the situation down a little bit here at the moment. Now they're slipstreaming once again on the back straight. Keithley has to worry.
I'm sure Keithley's going to hold it right. Yeah, he certainly is.
Honzik is pushing Dorneden.
Yeah. Honzik wants some more action here. He wants to pick up the pieces should anything go wrong. He's just instigating it. Dorneden going to try and go around the outside. Oh my goodness me, that's surely too late on the brakes. How has he done that?
Fantastic.
I do not understand. Alexander Dorneden all the way around the outside after a push from Jaroslav Honzik from 3rd back to the lead. This is crazy racing. Jack Keithley's not happy with that though. We look at Jaroslav Honzik trying to get around the outside of Moritz Lerner. I'm sure...
That could work. A bit of contact there.
Been closed off. Yeah, I think he's just been closed off by Moritz Lerner. Now he comes under attack from Cleaver Brzezinski and Florian Haase. Dorneden, should that work out, he definitely owes Jaroslav Honzik a beer after this.
It's a shame that it didn't have Honzik at all. It only had Dorneden.
Oh, he's a nice guy though, isn't he?
Let's see if he will do the same for Lerner on the next lap.
Yeah, see, at this point, I think Honzik just wants there to be action. He doesn't want anyone sitting there in line, but that doesn't help him at all. Meanwhile, if he can instigate, if he can push people into a battle they don't really want to be a part of, It's a good tactic in sim racing. I've used it to great effect, average effect, on various occasions, where you kind of like, you almost just push someone into a battle they really don't want to be a part of. Just kind of like, off you go. And it can really help you, because once they start battling, you can then find the opportunity to sniff your way past 2 cars instead of 1. We look at Dornadon. Not here.
No.
Oh, they're going to try it though. They're going to try it though. Jack Keithley back up into the lead. That was sensational. I'm not looking forward to making the highlights package of this. Crazy racing.
Dornadon tries around the outside. This is the same move that Keithley did.
He's tagged him.
Keithley well held there. And first cars going to the pits. That's Mira Esports. Baldi and Notch into the pits.
Making an early call to get out of this train and potentially make something of the afternoon's racing. 40 minutes to go. Tyre wear does become a little bit of a factor. Expect to see some other drivers responding to that at the end of this lap.
I think we lost Rechel out of the race now as well.
James, who was recovering well, of course, was in that massive incident. Didn't get hit by anyone somehow, but spun just at this corner that we're going through now. That Dornadon is going to surely try and mount a challenge on Jack Keithley. You can see across to the other driver's eyes, preparing for that braking zone. He's been so good in the brakes. Just not good enough this time. Jack Keithley was aware of it. He was wise to it. He was prepared for it. And just managed to hang on. Track dropping away from us here. Rivage, in my opinion, one of the hardest corners to get right, because you can gain so much time, but you can also lose so much through the corner with no name. Very far up there. They're getting more comfortable with it now. They're running right up on the curb. The 9 of us battling away the order. Presently, Jack Keithley, Dornadon, Lerner, Honzik, Brzezinski, Haase, Banky, Ulrich, Dixon and Shepherd in the top 10. Shepherd, I think, might actually be getting back involved with this somehow. But of course, do not forget that Baldi and Noj have both entered the pit lane. Ignore that. So those 2 have already come in. Where will they come out in comparison to the rest of this field? Will anyone in this field enter the pit lane at the end of this? We're approaching the halfway point with rapid effect. 38 minutes to go. Surely someone in this group's got to bite this lap and come down the pit lane. Excellent shots here to show you what's really going on. The true speed of these cars, absolutely on the limit. It wasn't Shepherd anyway, by the way, it was Dixon that I was looking at that was joining this battle again. He's going to try and go around the outside. Alexander Dornadon though. Oh, is anyone going to come in the pit lane? No, a bit of contact between the 2, but Jack Keithley just manages to hang on with aggressive defence. No one's entered the pit lane as far as I can see. And now Jaroslav Honzik trying to get by Moritz Lerner again. Alexander Dornadon paying him back a little bit of slipstream there, maybe looking down the inside of Jack Keithley. Nothing quite going to work, but it might hang Moritz Lerner out to dry as there could be some side-by-side coming down into... I think
Dornadon and Lerner are side-by-side.
Yeah, absolutely. Lerner might have to yield here, though. I think he might, as Alexander Dornadon has the Obi-Wan Kenobi high ground.
Bit of a gap for Keithley now. Dornadon still in the slipstream.
This is crazy, Rob. Absolutely crazy. Here comes Dornadon again. I'm sure they're having good fun, mind.
Oh, once late on the brakes.
Maybe a little bit of contact. He was under attack as well, so we had to be late on the brakes as he was under attack from Cleaver Brzezinski. Somehow, though, despite them being side by side in almost every corner, they remain the same order. See Bo Dixon just dropping off the back of this. He's just not able to keep up with the rapid lap times that these lot are constantly firing in. Bent Banky just really a part of this. Torsten Ulrich, despite that mistake at Les Combes earlier on, by the way, he's still on this train, so he's still a part of this this race for the win.
Shout out to Bo Dixon, what a great debut in Server 1.
I say he's just not able to keep up with this firepower that these lot are dealing with. But at the same time, to hold 9th position in this race and realistically not be that far off over 20 minutes into the race, hats off to you, good sir. We're seeing a lot of good drives from a lot of these new drivers. The likes of Thorsten Ulrich and now, Bo Dixon. Some very, very good stuff up and coming. We look back down the order. Very important. Devon Nodge behind Pointeau, I believe. Oh. Yeah, it is Pointeau. It's just a bit of lag on the live timing. Remember that Pointeau's not pitted yet.
It's costing them a lot of time.
So much time.
Once again, he can't go through. Maybe Lerner can go through though, because he's really close.
They're going to be side by side with the chicane. Surely, once again, Dornan going to try and go around the outside, and Jack Keithley his way up into their lead. Oh, Keithley's so aggressive. Look, Lerner straight in the pit lane, last minute. Absolutely not transmitted to anyone else there. That was fantastic stuff. No one knew he was coming. Straight down pit lane, 35 minutes to go. Alexander Dornan trying to take the lead again. He's going to have to hang it around the outside. It's very possible to do, but just not this time, not on this occasion, not on a driver like Jack Keithley. That's one driver, though, that Jack Keithley has that isn't his teammate behind him. Of course, it's now Dornan, Honzik, and then his teammate Brzezinski. Dornan well over the curb, same as with Keithley. They're going to be side by side towards they come again, and we've seen Dornan time and time again break later than anyone else can. Almost anyone else goes, oh, look at this from Jaroslav Honzik again. Really helping him out.
Gonna work for Dornan. Could it work for Honzik as well? Oh, Keithley's really squeezing him, and there's the tap.
And there's the wall. That was a fairly big shunt into the wall there. Down to 7th position. Not sure how much I would have broken the car. I think the car should be all right. Just got a tap from was it Brzezinski? Was it Harton?
Yeah, it was Brzezinski, but he was also squeezed by Keithley before. This is kind of what kicked it off. Because, of course, Honzik can't go wide in this corner. He's going to get the slowdown penalty if he does. Gets squeezed there, then he's slow. And then I don't think Brzezinski had a lot of... I don't think he could really avoid him. But this incident started a bit earlier, and I don't think Honzik will be impressed with that.
Yeah, of course, as he's lifting to try and drop back in behind Keithley, because obviously he's been pushed wide a little bit. The car is basically unweighted, and there's nothing keeping the front end going that way. So one slight little tap on the rear end, and it will send you round, because it will just lift the weight off the rear end, and then just whoop, off you go. Moritz Lerner, by the way, came out behind Baldi. That's crazy.
It just shows how much time they lost in the battle there. And that puts Baldi in a position, of course he will have worn tires, that's not going to help him, but that puts him in a position where he could potentially fight for the race victory, because they're just going to lose more time here.
They will surely they'll react this time. Surely they'll be told. Keithley going to try and make it work around the outside once again. I think he's backed out of it because he wants to come down pit lane. Surely he has. Yes, he has. Absolutely. A couple of diving out there. I think they were intent to come down pit lane from Haase and Brzezinski, but then bailed out of it at the last minute. Wow, big pitters this time. Let's see what they can do in comparison to this. Baldi leading Lerner.
Of course, Lerner is also losing a bit of time behind Baldi now. So it's interesting. We will see where they come out. But just stay on this battle here between Baldi and Lerner, first of all, so we don't see the trees. And then second of all, because they will come out right at the same place.
They're heading into La Source now. Where is Dornan? Oh, they're ahead. They are ahead. There's Dornan now, out of the pit lane and behind. Now, this could be very important for Moritz Lerner. If he can just gap, you wouldn't really want to race going about it at the moment. You kind of want to just, oh, look at this, Devon Nodge. Whoa, that was going to be brave. You don't really want to fight about it at the moment. You want to just kind of sit behind, almost like try and push him to go faster. Of course, he's on more and more tyres. But if you can build that gap and then get by, then it might break Dornan from you. I don't think he's listening to me at all, though. Oh, look at background. That's Nodge. Yeah, he's down the inside of Dornan. They're going to be side by side. Dornan just managing to hold on, escorting David Nodge to the exit of the road surface. Again, reminder, the ones with the green tick by their name, or the green box rather by their name, those are the ones that have ticked off their pit stop for this race. 60 minutes, 31 to go, and that pit window is open between 15 and 45. Looking at Jack Keithley.
Lost a bit of time in the pit stop, also to Dornin. Seems like the same strategy for all of the drivers. I would assume they've changed front tires.
But how is that going to play into the race later on? Jack, I'm assuming that through action these lot are all going to bunch up again. I'd be very, very surprised if they didn't, because you do lose a lot of time from racing around here.
Once again, the forest there. You can see Ben Spunky though from the back of Pointeau's car, and Pointeau hasn't been in the pits, kind of in the middle of it.
Oh, he's going to get by here though, surely.
And Luna might get past Aldi as well.
So I mean, he's just pushing him. He doesn't really want to just get by or just race at a point where you're going to lose time. He wants to get by, get the move done, and then run off. This is good for Lerner. Excellent strategical play. Oh, David Noyes straight on. It's cost him a position to Jack Keithley, I think.
Brzezinski's coming out of the pits now. See if we can see Brzezinski there. Oh, there he is. That's not bad. Honzik also leaving the pit lane. And Keithley is just past Brzezinski. So good pit stop for Brzezinski here. Pitted late, has the best tires now for the remainder of the race. And he's still ahead of Hasse, ahead of Notch, ahead of Honzik and Bunky.
At that pole position, is he looking to add 215 points to his name, which if we were to include the drop score this early, it would actually give him the championship lead? Of course, a long way to go in this calendar. We've got one more of these exciting, enthralling endurance races, and we've got 2 more rounds that include the sprint races we saw at the Nürburgring, absolutely filled to the brim with action. But these endurance races, I was not expecting this much racing. This is incredible stuff. Of course, one of the most raceable circuits on the planet is Spa. That's why we love it.
Also, we've got one more race on the calendar, which is also an endurance race at Monza.
Yeah, I'm sure that with slipstream's not going to cause anything like this. That's sarcasm, by the way. We are going to have a race very, very similar. Of course, tune in to watch that one. Subscribe to the RaceRoom channel because it's going to be some more fantastic stuff through the WTCR Championship as well. The CUPRA Simracing Cup, though, really delivering the action pound for pound. Gergo Baldi, currently, realistically, your race leader, under a lot of pressure from the man who, at the moment, really looks like the strongest on paper, but he's doing such a good job not to race, realistically, not to waste time on Baldi.
Yeah, I think Lerner's strategy at the moment is, as long as Baldi is fast on his tires, he's going to slipstream. He's going to bump draft him, he's going to help him to extend the gap to Dornin and Keithley, because Keithley and Dornin are not going to work together. And as soon as Baldi is slow, he will try to, launch an attack, and then hope that Baldi is going to hold up Dornin and Keithley, because Baldi will get into tire problems eventually, because he pitted much earlier.
Yeah, just leave Baldi to do what he's doing. Leave him on the racing line to just keep going, just keep racing, keep pushing hard. I'm not going to fight you. I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to bump you a little bit on the straight. But that's it. Stulic and who was that?
Bedin, I think.
Yeah, I think so. They're into the pit lane. They're the final ones from that top lot to take a pit stop and stick a green box by the name. Pointeau also into the pit lane. As it's realistically the last opportunity to take that pit stop. 26 minutes left to go. And you can see how much this is working from Moritz Lerner. Absolutely pulling away. It's 2.7 seconds now back to Alexander Dorneden. Once again, just sitting in the slipstream. Push, push, push. It worked for Dorneden when Honzik pushed him. It now is working for Lerner.
And here you can see Dornin and Keithley, they're not doing the same thing.
As a teammate, you kind of want to put all that pressure on. You kind of want to cost them time. That that defence there has cost him about a couple of tenths of a second a bit, I think.
Yeah, but of course Baldi and Lerner are not teammates. Baldi part of the Mira Esports team, Lerner part of Williams. So it's kind of the same situation as with Dornin and Keithley, but I think Lerner is playing it a little bit smarter at the moment.
Yeah, Dornadin and Keithley, very, very aggressive drivers realistically. Then Lerner is definitely one of the smarts. Got the smarts as driver. You've got Florian Haas as well. I put in the same boat as Lerner as the drivers that really use their heads. Yeah, and Gogo Baldi. Gogo Baldi's got a wealth of experience in sim racing to use to the thing is he's not a driver that would sort of like see see Moritz Lerner come up to the back of him and then start pushing him and then go, oh, but I've still got to defend. He'll be like, I know what he's trying to do, because that's what I try and do. Right, let's gap them. Because then, like, even if you don't win at that point, second place, I mean, it's not good. No one wants to finish second, but it's at least giving you a chance to win. Whereas if you both fight, then you don't have a chance to get on the podium, let alone the win.
Yeah, especially Baldi with his tires. He knows that he has a disadvantage. I don't think he expects to win. So he was where, like 8th before the pit stop?
Yeah.
But he knows he's in a good place in the championship.
Yeah, exactly. He's trying to gain as much as he can at the moment. And yeah, if he races hard, it could potentially, at the latter point of this race, drop him much further down the order. So those two playing a very, very smart game, almost looking like teammates at the front, but they are not. Dornadin desperate to hang on. I think Keithley's... Oh, I was going to say maybe he's thinking about it, but there he goes, down the inside. A little bit of contact on the apex. That's going to cost him a lot of time. As they run down the hill again, Cleaver Brzezinski's now going to be able to get involved in this, surely, as they run towards Les Combes. Once they've got over Eau Rouge and Rayon. Desperate stuff for Keithley, trying to get by. Dornadin trying to hang on as much as he can. Massively over the curb at the top of Rayon. Run towards Les Combes. He's going to go to the outside. We've seen him potentially break. Oh, look at this. They're going to slipstream the teammates. Maybe a little bit of bump drafting. This should be Keithley up into third, potentially. Nope, late, super late on the brakes. He's outside of Dornadin. Been doing that all afternoon. Look at the train this is going to cause as well. Honzik getting back into the mix. Haase, Noj, all returning to the mix in this fight.
I'm thinking Ulrich might have changed 4 tires, because he's about 5 seconds back. He was in the train before.
Yeah, unless potentially another slowdown. He's got Bo Dixon right on his rear end as well. Race leaders, you can see Dornadin in the background. You can see Keithley, you can see that pressure. You can see it nearly 3 seconds back. They surprisingly haven't actually lost that much time from it. They've done a decent job. We can see the gaps there. You can see the battle for P2 on screen. That gap ebbing and flowing.
Yeah, I think Dornadin is actually a bit faster than Lerner and Baldi when it comes to the raw pace. He just doesn't have the slipstream and he has to defend against Keithley. And Keithley's helping Lerner effectively with his aggressive driving against Dornadin. We have to remember, of course, it's the first round for the Williams drivers. They've all got 0 points. Dornadin already has got a lot of points from the first race. I think he was sitting in 4th place in the championship. So, looking strong for Dornadin. Of course, Baldi, one of his rivals, still ahead of him.
But I think at this point in the race, that's not too bad. There's still a long way to go in this race for sure. Oh, Lerner and Baldi, I think it might have been a lag, was it? I think it might have just been a little bit. It's not actually costing any time, that switch positions. Gergo leading things at the moment. We're going to be entering that final third of the race. Everyone has made their pit stop. The pit window, we are closing in a bit, but obviously everyone's already made it, so it doesn't really matter. More bump drafting.
If you're not sure which car that is,
yes,
you can read it.
CUPRA.
It's calmed down a bit, hasn't it?
A little bit, I think. Through that first stint where everyone's in touch with victory, everyone's like, I want to take victory, I want to do it, I want to do it, I want to do it, I want to do it. Whereas now victory's far ahead, or 3 seconds down the road. They're all like, let's calm this down and see if we can catch them up. Whereas towards the final 10 minutes of the race, if they can't catch that gap, you're going to see things light up here once more. You can see I think they are struggling a little with pace, because some of the people that are rejoining this battle, Ben's Banky, rejoining that battle for 3rd position. We look back down the order towards Chris Shepherd, who is in 12th at the moment, well ahead of his best friend in the world.
I just read in the chat, Slava Stulic made a new friend in this race, Michael Rechel. Apparently, Stulic was a little bit involved in it when Rechel crashed out of the race.
We did see some
do-or-die style, driving the car of Takini in the esports WTCR for a reason. Back to the leaders now.
He did make a bit of a name for himself back in the Nürburgring, did Stulic. I don't think he realistically put a target on his back this early in the season, but was fairly aggressive with some. They provided some excellent broadcast material, though, didn't it? Oh, there we go from Lerner, down the inside. Baldi saw that one coming. Decided not really to fight it.
Baldi saw it coming, and Baldi also knew, okay, my time is up here at the front. Now I will slipstream.
Yeah, I will slipstream, I will push, I will see what I can hang on to, and let's see what we can do in 20 minutes' time.
He just lifted, he didn't want to go for a move on the inside, and Lerner goes straight on in the corner.
Oh, I've done that so many times, it's painful. Not going wide of that corner, everyone goes wide of that corner, but the, I'll get by now, and then that's when you make a mistake, and then cost yourself a second. That has actually dragged Dorlandon quite a way back into the mix, to be honest. We'll see what Baldi does up towards Les Combes. Sure, he's just going to bump draft.
Yeah.
I think he is. Yeah, there we go. God, that camera wouldn't be working if it was real life. Thankfully, in sim racing, we don't have that problem. Dorlandon now under attack from Jack Keith. A little bit of contact between the two as they head towards Les Combes once again. But we know how good Alexander Dorlandon is on the brakes into that corner. Hanging on to 3rd for now. But all that time he's gained, he might lose if they race hard again.
And it's good for Keithley that he's got Brzezinski behind him and not Honzik. Because Brzezinski hasn't tried a move yet.
Of course, his teammate, Cleaver Brzezinski, all part of the Williams Esports driver contingent.
Oh, Shepherd out of the race, technical issue.
Oh, that's a shame. That's one of the joys of sim racing. When you get that. Oh, Dorlandon, by the way, has dragged himself right up to this. That's concerning, because that might mean that Gergo Baldi was the faster driver of the two. Dorlandon's really, really closed up over a second over this previous sort of like lap and a bit. Unless he's just decided now's the time to turn it up.
He can also stay with Lerner.
I've spoken about this many times in sim racing, Rob. When you're directly behind someone, you're kind of like following the marks. You do that for a few laps, you kind of get comfortable with it. When you get ahead, to actually get ahead and instantly nail a lap is actually it's a lot harder than you'd think. Even though you've done weeks of practicing just by yourself, the fact that you've been sat behind someone, you've learnt that, you then actually need to almost relearn your braking zones, because you're just kind of like, yes, it's here, not there. Although you'd expect with drivers on this this level, this caliber, that shouldn't necessarily be a problem.
But you're right, you can clearly see how Dorlandon is gaining and gaining and gaining. And maybe even Baldi knows that maybe he will try a move against Lerner now.
Still content with pressing on. But Dorlandon is going to be right back into the mix. I'm curious to see what their lap times were, though, because I'm pretty sure that Dorlandon's just absolutely fired in a beast mode lap time.
Fastest lap time overall in the race, Jack Keithley, but that was probably at the beginning of the race when they had 4 fresh tires.
What's Gergo going to do now? Attack? Stay behind? Push? I think push is the answer at the moment, whilst there's some racing in the background.
Honsik's past Brzezinski on the straight. You have to go to Dorlandon, though. Now let's have a look at Honzik on the outside against Brzezinski. Nice move. Is it gonna work, though?
Yeah, it will do, because you have the momentum all the way through this exit of Les Combes. Surely it's going to work. There's going to be contact between the two as they run down the hill towards Rivage. Oh, they're going to try and make it 3 wide. Yaroslav Honzik going to try and go running on the outside. That's surely not going to work, because he's just going to rush wide there. But I think it might do. It's going to get muscled out of the way. No, Cleaver Brzezinski just hangs on to 5th place. I was absolutely sure that was going to work through Les Combes. I would have bet my house note that I don't own.
Dorniden has caught up with Baldi now.
Oh, things are going to get very interesting now. The final quarter of an hour here for the endurance race, our first endurance race of the season. First of two. Showing their importance again, just to confirm to you, 195 points I believe is what Ben Spanky's on. Our championship leader is down in 9th position. To win this race it is 200 points. It's already more than that because it's a double points race. You'd have to win both races in the sprint races to gather that many points, so that shows the importance of these two longer distance races, and Alexander Dorniden is one that definitely knows that. He's currently sitting 3rd in the championship, only about 20 or 30 points off of that lead.
And it's 64 points for Dorniden, 194 points for Bunky. Between David Notch, who's a little bit further behind in this race. In the background you can see Honzik once again trying to make a move on Brzezinski, but it's not working yet. Brzezinski even goes wide. Honzik tries to get a wide line, a good exit here, but it doesn't really work in the bus stop.
But then again, I've seen some moves that shouldn't work in the bus stop, i.e. the Jack Keithley one where he went from 3rd to 1st, and I still don't understand how it worked. Yeah, it still does sometimes. So, you know, they're desperate to try anything.
Bit of a quiet race for our championship leader Ben Spanky. He doesn't seem to have quite the pace of his rivals here.
It is a very un-Ben Spanky race so far. Got into a little bit of racing early, just not been able to get back into this from the pit stop. Was closing up. We look back at the lead. Moritz Lerner going to be under attack from Gergo Baldi. Is he going to stay behind, or is Gergo Baldi going to go for it again? Gergo Baldi, after that early pit stop, was down in 8th position, then made the pit stop, came out in the lead, and now he's going to be down the inside as Alexander Dorniden's going to get right back in the mix as Moritz Lerner just hangs on around the outside. Now Gergo Baldi's going to go defensive against Alexander Dorniden. He had to attack. Now's the time to attack. They had nearly 3 seconds on the field. That's now become nothing. 1 second separates the top 4.
And this was maybe the one opportunity that Dorniden had without worrying about Keithley. But he couldn't quite make it stick on Baldi. Now Keithley is right back in the mix. Dorniden seems to be like the fastest driver on track at the moment, but that doesn't help him when he's in this position.
It's all well and good being the fastest guy on circuit, but the problem is when you've got slipstreams, so regardless of where, like when you take the lead, the slipstream will always drag them back up. This isn't a hot lapping session, it's a race.
Dorniden has to wait now, attacking Baldi, because Baldi is losing the back of Moritz Lerner at the moment. This could be Lerner's opportunity here if Dorniden attacks.
But I think if Dorniden attacks and gets by, that's it. I think Baldi will drop right down the order. So this is important for Baldi, it's important for Dorniden. It's also important for Lerner that Baldi doesn't let Dorniden by. Into the bus stop again. I'm sure Dorniden's going to go for something though. Inside, outside. Where's he going to go? He's going to go for the outside. Oh, there's a bit of contact between the two. Oh, it's going to cost him position to Keithley, surely. Oh my goodness me, he's going to try and get around the outside. There's lots of rubbing there. And he gets absolutely muscled off the circuit. Cleaver Brzezinski is surely going to get by Jack Keith as well. The two Williams Esports drivers are going to be side by side up towards the source. So what could have been a potential overtake for Dorniden has nearly lost him in position. Once again, nearly loses him in position to Jack Keithley. Jack Keithley going to stay ahead of Cleaver Brzezinski, who just gets muscled off the circuit at T1. And everyone once again returns to the order that they left in. And Gergo Baldi with 1/4 of a second just behind this man, Moritz Lerner, who we are riding on board with. That is Gergo Baldi right there on screen. You can't even see the rest of the cars going through Eau Rouge there, they're that close. More bump drafting. There's a CUPRA logo. You can really see some exquisite detail on the front end of that car. Nah, Gergo's not going for it this time. He's Gergo going to stay in second for now. Jaroslav Honzik trying to go around the outside and hold on to 6th position. David Noj trying to get him. David Noj is going to get him surely here. Oh, it's very aggressive. We saw that from Noj to take victory back in Nürburgring. Jaroslav Honzik down to 7th position. David Noj up into 6th, considering his championship run was main rival down in 9th position. That's great for Noj. once again, with 10 minutes to go in this race, I could not call you a race winner here, because between these 5, anyone can win. I'd say at the moment the least likely is actually Brzezinski, because he's at the back. He's got 2 of his teammates ahead. Can he really attack them that hard? I know he had pole position. I know he's got the pace, but can he really afford it at the moment? Jack Keithley, we know how aggressive he's been. Gogo Bowdy, desperate for a victory, using strategical masterclass to his aid, and gets himself right into the mix. But look at the time it's cost him through there. He's going to slipstream all the way back up. Don't you worry. They'll surely be side by side up towards the bus stop. But Dornaden might go for a move this time by.
I think you really should go for a move now, because it seems like Baldi can't go the pace anymore of Lerner. Yeah, Dornaden on the inside. Oh, Keithley!
Oh my goodness me, that's surely not going to work. He's going to go straight on. Dornaden, yeah, that was way too late in the race. That was an accident, but he still gained a position from it, never mind.
Yeah, Baldi not happy about that, flashing his lights.
I wouldn't be happy about it either. That was crazy dangerous.
Oh, Brzezinski now on the inside of Baldi. That could work. I think Keithley's gonna get the slipstream to Brzezinski, but Baldi slots back in.
To be fair to him, if Bowdy, even in 5th position, is better than the 8th position he was in prior to the pit stop, so he still might have made a gain, provided that little train behind doesn't catch. Look at the front end though. They're pulling away from Keithley. Dornaden and Lerner are pulling away from Jack Keithley as the intense battling continues. Mirror Esports of Gogo Bowdy all over the back of Jack Keithley. Jack Keithley doesn't know which way to go, whether he's going to defend or not. Oh, look at this from Cleaver Brzezinski though, down the inside. That's a great move, that is. Opportunistic much. Fantastic work. Lecom up to 4th position. Now Jack Keithley really doesn't have to look behind, so he can focus his attention fully on the battle ahead. Jaroslav Honzik trying to get past David Noj. And Florian Hassel directly behind. That car, that 4th car in the picture, the final one just cropping in. That's your championship leader. That's Ben Spanky. That's your race winner of the 1st of the season. Can't really win from the position that he's in at the moment. There were 6 of them in a line for the victory. I think there may only be 4 now. I think Gogo Bowdy won't really be able to mount much of a challenge. To be fair though to him, I think he'll sit behind and just try and hope to keep up and see if he can pick up any pieces in the final bits of this race. Trying to find out the times. That's so wide, so aggressive. That's going to really help Banky back into this. Jaroslav Honzik trying to go around the outside. That's not going to work. We head through Curveball Frere. Stavolo, he tried making it, but Curveball Frere, absolutely not. Jaroslav Honzik into 7th. Just as an FYI, there will be 3 laps to go. Not many laps. Still 7.5 minutes though, isn't it?
And Keithley defending against Brzezinski.
Brzezinski not trying to make it stick around the outside. Oh, here we go. Jaroslav Honzik trying to get David Noj. Florian Hassel trying to get him. Again, though, whilst they all race this hard, they still managed to come out of the corner in the same order. Oh, Dornaden having a little look. Little cheeky look in the foreground there. And,
Keithley's wide.
Oh, so, yeah. Little mistake there.
Both go through. Oh, that costs them a lot. That costs them the chances to win.
I think these 3 are all out of it. I think it's a 2-horse race for the victory. There's only 3 laps to go and 2 seconds. Unless these 2 race so hard that Brzezinski catches up, I think that's it. I think it's done. I think you're looking at your race winner here. One of these 2. Will it be Moritz Lerner? Or will it be Mr. Spa, Alexander Dornaden? Will he add a 3rd victory to his repertoire?
Position changes this time around as they enter Lecom. But Notch has to defend hard. He's also on the old tires, of course.
Oh, bad contact.
Oh, and Banky was trying there to get past Florian Hassel. Hassel takes a lot of curb.
Yeah, make no mistake, all these drivers are pushing as hard as they possibly can to get whatever position they can. At the moment, we've got some little battle packs here. We've got the battle for the lead, the battle for third, and the battle for sixth. All close, all gaining a car the further back we go.
Like what you see, please leave a like and subscribe to our channels. Lots of action coming up in the next weeks. This race, I have to say, it's, you know, one of the special rounds. Really exciting racing, really great action.
Yeah, of course. Subscribe to the RaceRoom esports, RaceRoom channel rather on YouTube, and also the Facebook to keep up to date with all of the information, because there's so much racing that happens in RaceRoom. Of course, alternatively, you can get the game yourself and give these cars a bash. I'm sure you won't be disappointed from getting onto one of these fields in any of the divisions that we're racing at the moment. There's going to be some great racing. Look at Jack Keithley in the background. He was trying to get past, but not quite. He's just not. Oh! Cleaver Brzezinski straight off the road. Now Gerger Bowdy back onto the podium.
Oh, huge mistake by Brzezinski there. Losing a lot of places, battles throughout the field, even a bit further back. Ulrich defending against Bo Dixon. And Dornin is right on the back of Lerner.
The two future hopefuls.
Oh, Dornin is through!
Oh yes, so he is. Got through La Source. I think we were right on board with Dornan and that. That's a good move there if he got that one done. It might have been a little bit of a mistake. Could that be all three of the Williams drivers making a mistake on the same sort of lap and a bit? Definitely not over yet with the slipstream though. Here we go. This is the second to last time they will see this chicane in this race. This matters. In the background, we've got Gerger Bowdy and Jack Keithley rather. Jack Keithley now up into third position again. That's going to run straight on maybe. Or he may do. No. Just manages to keep it on the track. Bowdy played it a little bit smart there. Again, just to remind you, Bowdy has actually gained a lot through that pit stop sequence because he was 8th. Now runs in 4th position, battling for the final spot on the podium, even with the worn tyres. With a couple of laps to go, might still to fight a challenge.
I just mentioned in the chat, maybe you want to be 2nd on the final lap. Use the slipstream, go past on the outside. But passing Dorniden under braking, we always used to joke that Dorniden always can find 7/10 under braking, and once again, it seems to be proven correct in this race, because he's so late on the brakes. No one can pass him there.
Yeah, I remember back in the day trying to fight you, Rob, for not race wins, because I was never very good, but any time that we were battling on circuit, there was always that thing in the back of my mind that you were always better on the brakes than almost anyone else, and Dorniden is very much that of the now.
Who has been my teammate for 2 years. Maybe showed him a couple of tricks. Who knows? Certainly, no one can show him any tricks at the moment because he's the fastest driver on track.
What does Lerner have to do to overcome that? And after this, there will be one more lap. Every corner they see is an opportunity passing. An opportunity for a race win, potentially by the end of it, an opportunity for a championship. This will catapult Dorniden into the championship lead. We look back at Bo Dixon against Ulrich, trying to get up into 10th position. Torsten Ulrich, Bo Dixon, take a bow. You've both done very, very well. We look at Gerger Bowdy trying to mount a challenge on Jack Keithley for that final spot on the podium. Florian Haase.
I think he's been passed around the outside.
Yeah, exactly.
What a move by Banki.
We'll have to look at the lead though. 3/10 separates them as the final run through Eau Rouge, through Radion, and up to Les Combes. The last time they will try this. This is the last big, big, big opportunity until the bus stop. He's going to have to throw one down. Close. Not close enough. Absolutely not close enough. He's having a look, trying to see if he can distract him. But I'm sorry, mate. You are not going to distract this man when he's got one hand on a race victory. He's not the kind of man to make a mistake. He made one a little bit earlier, but it wasn't a biggie. It hasn't cost him so much. He made a mistake here. That's a mistake. He's pushing hard. Into Rivage. These two, the two Germans, absolutely showing them on their absolute limit, Rob.
Right up to the edge of the track limits.
3 2 on. Oh, it's so tense. It's so very, very intense. Alexander Dornan has won his fair share of race victories, has won titles in sim racing, has won quite a lot, but at the moment his eyes are focused on this title, on this race, on this corner. Every single apex matters right now, because if he makes one big mistake, that's it, that's done. Oh, he's absolutely throwing it into Stavilo, into curve pull Fred. They'll be completely flat through here. Worn tyres. 60 minutes of the most intense racing that we have seen on RaceRoom Racing Experience. Again, subscribe if you want to see more, because this has been absolutely fantastic. One more opportunity for Moritz Lerner. Here we go then, through Blanchimont. Is he going to be looking left or right? He's got to go for something. Alexander Dornan is going to hold it defensive on the inside. He absolutely had to. But here comes Moritz Lerner trying to go around the outside. They're going to be side by side. He's going to push him straight off. Absolutely. That was always going to happen. Alexander Dornan, though, comes out of the final chicane. Mr. Spa? Absolutely. That's number 3. Race win at Spa for Alexander Dornan. His first of the season, the third different one of the season, and the first 60-minute race goes to Dornan.
Congratulations to Alex. Second place after a strong race, tactical drive. Really good drive from Moritz Lerner. Great debut in the championship here. And Jack Keithley, after a lot of hard battles, secures the 3rd position ahead of Gergo Baldi. With his strategy, I think he can be very happy. P4, that's a good result. Brzezinski, after pole position, only in P5.
Championship leader, only P8. A lot of stories have come out of this truly classic Spa race. The CUPRA Simracing Cup absolutely delivering here. Fantastic stuff. We had a great race at the Nürburgring. We've had a great race at Spa. I am not looking forward to making a highlights package of that, because that is going to be an absolute nightmare. There was action all the way up and down the order. We had massive trains, but it ended with this man taking the top step of the podium. A step that he's fairly familiar with now in his sim racing career.
Yes, especially on Spa. And Alex Dornan looking strong for the championship. Takes, of course, the championship lead with this result. Well, he should move up into 2nd place. And Bunky losing a lot of ground here, but we shouldn't count him out. Next up in 2 weeks is Hockenheim. So another track that can always bring a surprise. A good track for Keithley. Track where he has won before.
Yeah, of course, 2 weeks after that as well, we head for another 60-minute race. This time it will be coming from Monza, and then a week after that we head to the tight, twisty streets of Macau, where I'm sure there'll be something crazy going on. Of course, a sprint race there. But Rob, I leave you with the final thoughts to wrap up. What can we say about that race? There we have the standings. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, fastest lap for Keithley. Hard-fought race. Bit of contact here and there, but overall very fair driving as well. Lots of action, and I think a deserved winner with Alexander Dornan. And my prediction was right. He survived against Williams Esports. Had to defend against them, or attack them the whole race. As the driver who's alone in FA Racing Esports in this championship, still came out on top. And that's what makes him so dangerous.
A man you can never, ever, ever discount, Alexander Dornan. Race victory here at Spa. And again, join us in 2 weeks' time when we head to Hockenheim. We're back into the German border. Then we head off to Italy 2 weeks after that, and then we finish the calendar a week after that in Macau. It is going to be a season you do not want to miss. It's a race for €3,000 for that victor, and they are all pushing hard for it. Thank you very much for joining us here through this excellent, truly excellent Spa round, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.
What is it that drives us forward each and every day? Going faster, further, lap after lap. CUPRA already invented the race car of the future, the world's first 100% electric racing car. A car to set new standards in racing. Now the time has come to expand this vision together by inventing new paths and constantly challenging us to think ahead, by taking racing to new exciting places and rethinking the way we experience it. Like turning virtual into reality and constantly reinventing.
by making you part of the game.